Hello children, it's Wednesday and today we're going to carry on writing, and today our focus is going to be looking at using conjunctions, and this is to make your sentences interesting, to vary your sentences and not always write the same type of sentence. So using lots of different conjunctions can really help with that. So just pause the video and see if you can remember what a conjunction is. Okay, so hopefully you can remember, and if we have a look here, our list of conjunctions are here. There's plenty more, but these are good enough for us to start, and as you can see, they're separated in two lots. Now you will be familiar with this because this is on your spelling sheet. So you will see the coordinating conjunctions, which are the ones that when we first start learning about conjunctions we use, so and being the most popular, and but or for or yet so, and then the subordinating ones, which are a little bit more complicated, and I'll explain a bit more later, but they actually make a much better sentence. So as you move up the school, you should be really thinking about using your subordinating conjunctions rather than more simple ones. Yes, you'll need them sometimes, but it's good for you to think of using a range of them and using them in different ways, which hopefully your today's lesson will help you with. So if we look at our first sentence, we can see the last windmill wasn't spinning. That's the first sentence. He spun it gently. Okay, so it's from the story. The farmer noticed that the large windmill wasn't spinning and he spun it gently. So if you think, or can you think, is there a conjunction I could put in to put those two sentences together? So you might have had to think about it. The last windmill wasn't spinning and he spun it gently is the simplest one you could. Now, both of these sentences are sentences on their own. They stand alone. But when you're using and putting that in, or if you look here, so, these are coordinating conjunctions. It's where you're kind of joining two sentences together. They stand alone on their own, okay, as sentences. They make sense as sentences, but when the conjunction goes in the middle, you can join the two sentences together, and that's what a coordinating sentence is. So we've got the last windmill wasn't spinning, so he spun it gently. And all of us are pretty good at using these quite naturally in our writing. We don't really have to think about them. So let's have a look at another sentence. So here we have, he carefully planted all the seedlings because he wanted them to grow. So just think, which is the conjunction in this one? It's because. And if you can see, I've underlined to show you what we call the clause. So the extra bit of this sentence, this is not a coordinating conjunction because we couldn't stand this on its own. If we just wrote he wanted them to grow as a sentence on its own, we'd be going, what did he want to grow? We haven't got enough information in that little phrase, he wanted them to grow, to make it a sentence on its own. And that's when it becomes a subordinating conjunction, when it can't be a sentence on its own. So he carefully planted all the seedlings because he wanted them to grow. So the thing is, with a sentence like this, is you can mix it up a bit and you can have a little bit of fun with it. So it doesn't always have to go at the end. So if I wanted to, see if I got it right, I can put it at the front. Because he wanted them to grow, he carefully planted all the seedlings. And that's when our writing gets interesting and varied, that we mix it up a bit. We don't always do it in the same way. And just like with the fronted adverbials, did you notice that punctuation, we've got a comma after that little phrase because we took that phrase from the end of the sentence and we've put it at the beginning. So we need a comma in there. So because he wanted them to grow, comma, he carefully planted all the seedlings. Doesn't matter which way round you do, and you want to do a variety of them, but it's good to know that you can do that. So that's something that might be a bit of a challenge for some of you to do, but it's definitely worth thinking about. So, am I going the right way? Oh, yeah. So what I wanted to say this one is does it work with the first sentence? Can I swap that around? So the last windmill wasn't spinning, so he spun it gently. Can I swap? Now that, if you remember, that was a coordinating sentence. So two sentences that stand alone. Do they work? Can I swap that round? So let's have a look at, read this sentence, see if it makes sense. So he spun it gently. The last windmill wasn't spinning. So if you think about that, I don't think that sounds right. Okay, so what we're finding out is that if we're using a conjunction that is a coordinating conjunction, you can't really swap them around and move them around, but you can if it's a subordinating conjunction. Okay, and there'll always be some kind of rule and some kind of exception to that, but generally that's how it works. Okay, so if we have a look here, he carried on watering the plants, although his back was aching. So if you think about, you can see the conjunction although, and his back was aching, that's telling us a little bit more information. And so we could move that around. His back was aching would stand alone as a little sentence on its own, but in this sentence, it makes much more sense as to tell us why his back was aching. So we've got a good idea that he was doing quite a lot of hard work. So can we swap it around? Let's have a look. Although his back was aching, comma, he carried on watering the plants. So you can see that we can just play around with it a little bit. And that's the whole point. We're learning about how sentences can change in structure and how it can be quite fun to make it a bit more varied the way we write. So it's a bit more interesting. Right, so your challenge for today is, can you write 3 sentences using conjunctions? And I've put these pictures down here that might help you think of something that happened in the story. And if you can challenge yourself, can you write a sentence with the conjunction part first? So you might write it one way and then write it the other way to show. So you're really thinking, and make sure when you write your 3 sentences, each time you change the conjunction. I don't want 3 sentences with the same one. And challenge yourself a little bit to use some of the more, or the ones that you're not so familiar with. Okay, so really have a think about that. And also don't forget to use all the lovely language and descriptive language that you've been learning through the week. And don't forget those capital letters and full stops. Well done, everybody. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing all your lovely learning during the day.